Episode 39.
Hey everybody, welcome to Into the 99, because we have 99 cards, because Commander's number 1, and I'm one of your hosts, Sherman.
I'm Hope.
I'm Daniel.
I'm scared. I'm Brian.
Hey, it's been a while since we've all gotten back together, we're a little, well, I'm a little crazy, I don't know about you guys.
It's definitely nice to be back and not on webcams. The live shows were fun, but we definitely like to be in our little studio setting.
Well, it's nice to be not on webcam, but also exactly all four of us, because it's been just three of us for the last couple of weeks, and it's just been...
exactly.
It sucked, if I can be honest. I missed you guys a lot.
It's been hard.
It was, emotional.
Sorry that we had to stay away
From Daniel.
Yeah, for anyone who doesn't know, I was sick, minorly. I couldn't talk for a while at all. I was bleeding from my throat. It was not as minor as I'm making it out to be.
Yeah.
But I was majorly sick, and I am no longer.
So
thank goodness.
Yes, thank God.
Yeah, so...
Still staying away from
people. Everyone's socially distant from me. I'm in a bubble.
Yeah. We have covered him in saran wrap and just poked holes in his mouth and nose.
We've invested heavily in Purell.
That doesn't sound good.
Depends who you ask.
Straight jacket.
Anyways, today we're going to continue on with our partners. This is the last one of the ones we're going to do. We've talked about it among ourselves, and we just aren't as interested in the very last pair. We're going to do Haldan and Pako today. They're exciting. We love them. It's one of the first decks I built out of the new C20 commanders because I was instantly interested in these commanders because they just do everything fun. I thought they were a great competitive commander. And that's what we're going to talk about today is an intro into competitive with a budget version and then kind of talk a little bit about my version, which is not a budget version. It's a fully upgraded CEDH.
I'm shocked.
Well,
I love how your budget here is like, but we'll get to that in a bit.
The budget version's not too bad. The budget I made it for is $200. That's a pretty reasonable one. But
for CEDH, it's very reasonable. For an EDH deck, that's quite reasonable.
But we talked about just the final partners. I think it's Yannick and we just, none of us were really interested enough. It would have been a forced episode.
Yes.
I have them in my deck.
And we just don't want to bring that kind of stuff to you guys. Like, we want to bring content that we are actually excited about. Yeah. So the other partners we have been excited about. There's so many ways to build them. We've really, really enjoyed everyone's feedback.
Some people with one.
Yeah.
Oh man, you just murdered people with yours.
Yeah, the Trin and Silvar deck people have liked a lot. Like we liked all of the other ones. We liked Braylon Shabraz. We liked Ukima and Kazar. We just don't feel that about the other ones. So
I have one question for you. You said this is an intro. The deck list that we're going to go over today is an intro to CEDH.
Yeah, just for...
So where would you tier it? Is it a tier 7, like an intro, like that intro, or would you actually rank it a little bit higher?
I would say probably a 7 or an 8 with the competitive. Mine is realistically a little bit higher, but we'll go into why after. But this budget version, it does have instant speed win condition, and it will sneak wins past your opponents. It's not very... You're not really showcasing what you're going to play, and you're in 3 colors, so
That's very true.
Yeah, like, you're in 3 colors, you have a backup win condition, which we'll talk about. It's a pretty straightforward backup win condition.
Very unlike CEDH.
Yeah, that's why it works pretty well for the backup win condition.
But to really get into this, we should probably talk about what Haldan and Pako are.
So let's talk Haldan first.
Yeah, so Haldan, Avid Arcanist, 2 and a blue for a legendary creature human wizard, partner with Pako, a drawer. You may play non-creature cards from exile with fetch counters on them if you exiled them, and you may spend mana or mana of any color to cast those spells. He's a 1/4.
So number one about it, if Haldan or Pako are removed from the battlefield, that doesn't change what ones were exiled. It doesn't care about the instance. As long as you're the one who exiled them and put the fetch counters on them, you can indefinitely play these cards anytime you can play them for any color mana. So the whole reason to build this deck with like the CEDH thing in mind is you're going to get a chance to play a lot of cards you might not want to invest in yet. If you hit off the top of someone's deck with Pako's ability, which we'll talk about in a minute, You can play my Mana Crypt. You can play my Demonic Consultation. You can play all my combo cards.
Well, you can play cards that are not only expensive, but also like difficult to come by.
Yep. You might also, like, just off the top of my deck, you might get my Worldly Tutor or my, you know, you're able to get a lot of cards that you don't have the color for, and removal you don't have the color for, instant speed, and you just stack a big pile of answers. And the better the CEDH group you're playing with,
the better your deck becomes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And let's just keep in mind that you can take someone's win con.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
not only can you take their win con, but Haldan lets you play any non-creature cards exiled, so you can play your opponent's lands.
Mhm.
Yeah, which is
That's
crazy.
amazing.
So you can be sitting there playing other people's dual lands, their fetch lands. Like, you have a lot of potential to
And that
wreck what they're doing.
well, that's one of the reasons that this lends so well to a budget is because you don't have to have those super expensive lands. You don't have to have
Yeah,
all
you
of
just
these.
steal everyone else's.
Yeah, exactly. So you
Well,
get
like-
all the value without dishing out your wallet.
What I like about your take on this, just the fact that, like, in a more casual play style, okay, Haldan and Pako still decent, still pretty powerful, but
Yeah.
CEDH is even crazier because the CMC for every single spell is so much lower. Like, if I'm attacking with Pako, I'm not worried about having someone's like harvest seed or like something that's like high CMC.
Yeah.
Because you see that a fair amount in casual. You're going to see the
yeah, those
5,
big
6, 7.
spells, yeah.
But in
The ultimatums, whatever.
yeah, but in CEDH, everyone's going to be running tutors, so you can steal their tutors.
Yeah.
A Mystic Remora, heck.
Well,
know.
you're also, exactly, you're going to be hitting their Ristic Studies, just any of their...
Can I just say how we're hitting them quickly?
Well, 1 second. Just
Yeah,
just-
oh, yeah,
just-
just like Pako, yeah.
just
Yeah.
with Haldan, though, like, that's the whole point of the deck, is that you don't need to have that wild investment and stuff. In games that you're playing him, you're going to be able to cast Force of Wills without buying one. You're going to be
Heck
able
yeah.
to do a lot of the I can sudden spoiling without having black in the deck. You're going to hit a lot of really, really cool cards and learn the play style for CEDH you like the most. This is why it's such a nice introduction. It has multiple like win con paths, but it also is just going to ramp and perform well. It's green. Green is easy to get mana out, and your commanders are kind of... They run and function with this whole deck. Pako just hits like a truck. There's no way around it. We were playing in a game of actual CEDH. I hit everyone at the table on turn 2. I hit everything, so everyone got a non-land or non-creature off the top. I know, we'll talk about his ability in a moment. Don't worry. Just settle down for me. Well, I hit everything off it, and turn 2 was able to swing for 7 with Pako. He hits like a monster. Hope, please, tell us what Pako does.
I would love to. So Pako, Arcane Retriever. He's 3 in Gruul, so red and green. For an Elemental Hound, Orth. And he partners with Haldan, also Jadoy, and he has haste. He's a base 3/3, and whenever he attacks, exile the top card of each player's library and put a fetch counter on it, hence the fetch counters that Haldan uses, and put a 1/1 counter on Pako for each non-creature card exiled this way. So really in your deck, you're guaranteed essentially a 1/1.
Well, yeah, so this deck we only run 2 creatures, and we'll talk about why those 2 creatures later on. But this basically means that for us at least, every time Pako attacks, we've drawn a card.
Yeah.
So
Which is pretty cool.
Definitely a solid card that way. We have a few different things in the deck, but there's a few themes. One is we want extra combats with Pako.
Yeah.
One is we want things that are going to untap our lands, because again, we want to play our opponent's spells.
Yeah.
They're going to have a bunch of instant sorceries, things to fetch, and we need the mana to actually play those.
Well, sorry, I was going to say untapping your lands, but also playing more than one land.
Yes, and that's the other one, is playing the other lands. So the main combo that we're going to get to is we're going to discuss it right off the bat with the creatures. This deck is going to win out of the blue with a few different cards using the only 2 creatures in the deck, which is Leveler, a 5-cost 10/10 creature. When it comes into play, you remove your library from the game, and Thassa's Oracle. And for anyone who doesn't understand or know what Thassa's Oracle it is a main CEDH combo piece right now, which functions by having your library removed or drawn in some fashion. And Thassa's Oracle reads, when it enters the battlefield, look at the top X cards of your library, where X is your devotion to blue. Put one of them on top and the rest on the bottom in any order. If X is greater than or equal to the number of cards in your library, you win the game. So even if somebody kills Thassa's Oracle and your devotion to blue is 0, when the ability resolves, if you have 0 cards in your library, you will still win.
Mm-hmm. So it's a very quick. It comes out of nowhere. It's non-interactable because the ability stays on the stack, and it's just.
Yep. So we're going to talk about the few things quickly that pull those out. You can raw cast them because you are in green. You have so much mana in green all the time. Worst case scenario, it's a 7 mana raw cast. It's not the hardest thing to do.
No. Especially when you only need 2 blue and the rest is colorless.
Yes.
It's easy to.
However, we're going to try cheat them out with a few cards in the deck. The first one is Defense of the Heart. It's an enchantment for 3 and a green. During your upkeep, if one of your opponents controls 3 or more creatures, sack Defense of the Heart and search for up to 2 creatures, put them into play, shuffle your library after.
I love this card.
If this is not responded to, if it isn't responded to and it starts to resolve, you will win the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's all you bring out.
Yep. Somebody will need to have like a stifle to get rid of the triggered ability. And again, you're going to be in the deck running all of their combo pieces and their all of their counter spells that you're hitting off the top.
Mean.
So that's one of the ones. And all of the cards that we're going to talk about right now for this initial version of it function in that same way. We want to be able to, in one shot, get our creatures out.
Yeah.
Mass Polymorph is the next one. It's exile all creatures you control. We control Haldan and Pako. It's 2. You reveal cards from the top of your library and you reveal that many creatures. Put all of them revealed this way and then shuffle the rest of the revealed cards into your library. Yeah. So
you get rid of 2. You only have 2. You land on your combo pieces.
Yep. That one is a sorcery speed, so it's a little bit slower. It's 6 mana, and it's not the worst, but the one that we like to win is out of the blue, and it's going to be Divergent Transformations. It's an instant speed one. Its raw mana cost is 6 and a red, which is really, really high for a competitive game.
Yes.
But it has Undaunted. The spell costs 1 less for each opponent, so it's really only a 4-cost spell. It's exile 2 target creatures. For each of them, its controller reveals cards from the top of their library until they reveal a creature card, puts it into play, and shuffles the rest into the library. So an instant speed 4 mana win con if you have your commanders out.
Yep.
Oh, man.
Would it be 3? Lowest is 3, but then the highest is potentially 5.
For what?
For the Divergent Transformation cost. Which is true, yeah.
1 less for each opponent.
Yeah. So 3 opponents, never mind.
Yep.
Yeah.
3 opponents, 4 players
4,
in the game.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, yeah. So
yourself put a mirror in front of you. You're an opponent.
I hate you.
I hate you, but you're so good looking. But I hate you.
Technically, if you're playing a bigger game, it could be a 1 mana instant.
Yeah.
Oof.
But yeah, so we're talking kind of just the we'll talk about my list a little bit first and everything. So a lot of the things we're gonna go through the instants and sorceries now. So mine runs 23 instants, and then potentially another 60 because I'm running everyone else's instants when I'm hitting with Pako.
True.
Such a great way to look at it.
Yeah, so
mean.
So basically, my deck tries to run 400 cards.
Yeah.
But Sherman will just start going through them and stuff, so you can start the instants off here.
Yay! Okay, Anticipate, one of my favorite ones ever. 1 in a blue instant. God, we're looking at instants though. I don't know why I said that. Look at the top 3 cards of your library. Put one of them into your hand and the rest on the bottom of your library in any order. Which is dope. I love it.
In this deck, even doper though, because you have Pako out most of the time. If you anticipate, all you're doing is drawing a card and deciding what you're going to hit off the top of your deck.
Yeah.
So you have a bit of a chance to protect your win condition by seeing what things are, and then putting something back on top that you want. You want to land back on top, then we're going to take that land when we swing with Pako.
No, you're not.
No,
you're putting it on the bottom.
Oh, rest of the bottom.
You idiot!
I'm thinking a different card.
Sorry.
It's all good. Anticipate's still good, though. You're still digging for
I was thinking the wrong card. Sorry.
You fool!
Fools!
Reading's hard. It's early in the morning.
Yeah, well, reading's hard for you at any time of day.
Isn't this like your afternoon?
Yeah.
The next we have is Chaos Warp, because every deck that can run Chaos Warp should run Chaos Warp. It is a great card and a great answer because it's not destroy. It's going to get around indestructible. It's pretty solid as an answer.
Yep.
And then you have Counterspell, blue, counter spell.
Obviously. Yeah.
Obviously. Next one, though, is awesome. Crop rotation for 1 green, or single green. As an additional cost to cast a spell, sacrifice a land. But you get to search your library for a land card, put that card in the battlefield, then shuffle your library.
I initially had this in here for Rogue's Passage, and it should go back in for Rogue's Passage. I had just taken Rogue's Passage out to speed the deck up a little bit. But just a quick side note, Rogue's Passage should be in this deck, generally speaking.
Yeah.
Rogue's Passage just makes creatures unblockable.
Or 4 mana.
And Haldan is a truck. So,
Pako.
Sorry.
How do you not know your own
Again, I'm
dog's
tired
name?
today.
How do you not know your dog's name?
You have like 2 coffees, 2 energy drinks in front of you.
That should tell you how I feel today.
But it's your own dog.
It is my own dog.
Look at my entire dog.
The next we have Delay.
Grow so fast.
The next we have Delay, counter target spell. Sorry, Sherman's coughing there.
Yeah.
Next we have Delay. Delay counters target spell and puts it outside of the game with time counters on it and removes them, and it suspends them. Yeah. So it's generally a pretty good one. It's a 1 colorless, 1 blue instant. It's pretty good. It staves off it, but it doesn't actually counter it fully. All it's doing is buying you time. So
That's okay.
Yeah. They do still get to cast it later.
Yeah, but it's still cast, yes?
Yep. So
If
you
you
can
get a
counter it
turn later.
Divergent Transformation we obviously talked about. Expel from Mrazka is another interesting one. It's 1 and a colorless. Return target non-land permanent to its owner's hand. If you have the City's Blessing, you can put that permanent on top of its owner's library instead.
And you hit it with Pako.
Yes.
Exactly. So,
Pako is your dog, not Haldan.
he is a dog.
A lot of things in this list put things back on top of a library or show you what's there so you know when you're going to hit things the best.
Yeah.
We run Fierce Guardianship because
Of course.
Obviously,
it's
so
just such a good card.
Yeah.
It's for anyone who doesn't know, if you control your commander, cast it for free, counter target non-creature spell.
And if you don't, it's 2 in the blue.
Yep.
But
solid
in this
card
deck,
overall.
chances are you're going to be controlling your commander, at least one at any given time.
Yep.
Yeah.
Force of Vigor, if it's not your turn, you can exile a green card from your hand rather than pay its mana cost. And the nice thing about that is you can still do that from the fetch pile. You can still exile the card from your hand to pay its mana cost, destroy up to 2 target artifacts and or enchantments. So, again, another solid card. Growth Spiral, draw a card, put a land from your hand onto the battlefield.
I love that card.
It's so good.
Especially foil.
Oh,
yeah.
so pretty. Oh my god.
For some reason in my list, this is not in English, but it's Hinder.
Obstaculizer.
Because I was looking at it like, what?
You're like, cool.
It counters target spell, but you can put it on the top or bottom of its owner's library instead.
Which again, if you like it,
Yeah, exactly. I want something.
it's like if it's worth countering, you probably
Yep.
want it.
Keep Safe. Counter target spell that targets a permanent you control, and you draw a card.
For 2, that's awesome.
Croson Grip, because
Ditto.
sometimes you got to Croson Grip some things.
It's
Yeah.
not common.
Which
Yeah.
one?
What, Keep Safe?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oof.
From Ikoria, great set.
You might have to find that.
Memory Lapse. Counter target spell. If it's countered this way, put it on top of its owner's library instead of the graveyard.
And then Pako.
Yep. So the
Yeah.
same thing. A lot of decks
And Bork.
run things that are pretty good. Lots of Storm decks rely on an Aetherflux Reservoir, and if you take that Aetherflux from them, that is brutal.
Fetch boy.
Hilarious.
Yes, exactly. That's the
boy.
worst. The worst part about this deck is saying Pako Fetch when you swing, because it just starts making people so mad. Pako Fetch. We have Narset's Reversal, blue. Copy target instant or sorcery spell, then return it to its owner's hand. You may choose new targets for the copy.
So good.
Overall, just a great CEDH card for people who don't know. Basically, you want counter and control in CEDH because everyone's trying to combo off and win. You want a good combination of speed to win, but you also want to be able to protect yourself from someone else winning that way. The budget version of this deck, a lot of the expensive cards have been removed. More generic counter spells have been added, but it has more control and still pretty safe in general. It's just not as fast getting Pako out. You're not going to get Pako out turn 2.
Well, for comparison's sake, it has 29 instants versus your 23.
Yep. We run Neutralize because cycling and counter target spell.
Love.
Yep, it's just a strict upgrade of cancel. Savage Beating, which is what you give everyone with Pako.
Yep.
3 and red. Play only during combat. On your turn during combat, choose one. Creatures you control gain double strike until end of turn. Or untap all creatures you control, and after this phase, there's another combat phase.
Oh, so
And you can entwine
And
it
it has Entwine, yes.
for an additional 2.
Seed Time is a card I do not see very often in competitive play, but it should. You can play Seed Time only during your turn. It's 1 and a green instant. Take an extra turn after this one if an opponent played a blue spell this turn.
And
I
in
love that.
CEDH,
Yep.
I just love the fact that it's a green card that gives you an extra turn.
Yeah.
Alright, it's just me.
Yeah.
This is one of my favorite cards to put under Isochron Scepter. If you can get this out early, you're severely punished for trying to counter my spells, because I'll just take an extra turn and hit you with my truck named Pako. We have Shredded Sails. Just choose one, destroy target artifact, 4 damage, target creature with flying, or again, cycling. So generally, I actually am using it for cycling, but I do like to have more artifact destruction if possible.
And or get rid of a pesky flyer.
Yep. Trick Bind. Well,
they are
that,
pesky.
that
aren't
one's
they?
going to blow Zur out of the air, which is nice.
Yeah.
And Zur's sometimes a problem.
Sure.
Always.
Yeah. Trick Bind, a great card. It's 1 and a blue with split second. Counter target activated or triggered ability. If a permanent's ability is countered this way, activated abilities of that permanent can't be played again this turn. This is really good to hit with people who are trying to win with that Thassa's Oracle, because that's a triggered ability. You counter it, they have no library.
Yeah. And Temple Bellum.
Yes.
Yes.
Please draw one.
We run Veil of Summer. It's an M20 uncommon.
It's
but
also gorgeous.
it's just such a good card. Draw a card if an opponent has cast a blue or black spell this turn. Spells you control can't be countered this turn. You and permanents you control gain hexproof from blue and black until the end of the turn.
Holy smoke. I didn't see the price on this until now.
Yep.
I did not know
A
this.
very expensive uncommon.
Yes.
Holy smokes.
Yeah, sits at $7 for an uncommon.
US.
Wilt, destroy target artifact and enchantment, or cycling again if you need to draw later on. And then Wipe Away. We return target permanent to its owner's hand. At split
Nice.
second for 1 blue.
Love that.
We run kind of the generic green
Ramp package.
Yeah, ramp package, because again, we're trying to play things from like everyone else's deck. We need mana to do so. So we have Cultivate. A lot of our ramps just not worth countering. People aren't going to blow a Force of Will on my Cultivate,
No.
right? So it's pretty safe ramp overall. Cultivate, search for 2 lands. Everyone understands what that one does. Day's Undoing is just kind of a graveyard hate one, but if you lose something important, you can get them back. Each player shuffles his or her hand and graveyard into their library and draws 7 cards. If it's your turn, end the turn.
And ending the turn is also nice sometimes.
We run
Spam
Farseek
stop
to
them.
fix mana if we need.
Yeah.
Hunting Wilds to go for 2 forests, because it's going to fetch our Tropical Island, our any of those things that we need. It's going to fetch the new Triomes, which are pretty solid because they count as forests as well. So yeah, for 4 mana, you go get 2. We run Mass Polymorph, obviously, which is a win con in the deck. Migration Path, search for 2 basic lands, 1 tapped, 1 to your head.
Wow, you
Ramp
do
and
have
growth.
a lot.
Oh no, puts both on tap, sorry.
You have so much ramp.
A ton of ramp, because you need it.
And then I'm just like glancing over the artifacts, and it's all like basically more
Or
ramp.
ramp.
Yeah.
Ramp.
Well, you gotta remember, you're trying to play
Their stuff, yeah.
not only your deck, but 4 decks, right?
Yeah.
So, and
All the mana helps.
I'm going to be honest, it's going to hurt when someone plays 3 Soul Rings in a game. It doesn't feel good.
Oh.
Yeah, when they take your win cons like that, they take your Staff of Domination and any of those infinite mana sinks, it feels pretty bad.
Yeah.
That's so awesome.
So we also have another annoying kind of backup win con. It's in the artifacts, but you'll understand why I have so much mana after. But yeah, we run Migration Path, Rampant Growth, Ranger's Path, search for up to 2 forest cards again, which fetches our duels, Skyshroud Claim, same thing, Template Discovery, which no one should ever take the deal.
Yes.
I always do.
And everyone
Yeah.
takes the deal.
It's so tempting. What do you want from me?
We run Vandal Blast because there is no better artifact destruction spell.
Yeah.
And-
It's destroy target, or you can overload it to destroy each.
Yeah, opponent's control, yeah.
Yeah.
And World at War is the last one!
I've
So-
never heard of this card.
World at War! 3 in red, sorcery speed. After the first post-combat main phase, this turn, there's an additional combat phase followed by additional main phase. So basically, like attack, another main phase, attack again, and then you have another main phase.
Oof.
And it has
Like-
rebound.
Yeah. Oh, and followed by at the beginning of this combat, untap all creatures that attack this turn as well, and then yes, rebound.
So you cast it again for free. 4 combats, so for the low price of 1.
Yeah. Yay! So, but those are the sorceries.
Sounds like I need to have that in my turn so far.
Oh,
Yes,
yeah.
No.
hell yeah.
No,
It is
I don't want to play against
Absolutely. You
that.
absolutely need it.
It is a really, really solid one. Our artifacts, basically, if you run any deck that has a commander who's swinging, you should run Blackblade Reforged. It's one of the, by far, strongest artifacts in the game for commander creatures.
Yeah.
Especially because it's legendary when equip cost is 3, and anything else is 7, but it gets +1/+1 for each land you control, and your RAM package is enormous.
Well, and we're trying to play extra lands into play. I have always had a lot of lands in this deck.
But even if you're not playing a ramp packagey kind of deck, even if it is something like Trin and Sylvar, having Blackblade Reforge is still good, because even if you only have the 5 mana that you need for Sylvar, there's still an extra 5/5.
Yeah.
You know?
So true.
So,
Oh, he still hits like a truck with it.
Yeah.
Any commander does. Like,
Yeah.
it's a solid.
just for reference,
I'm
you
going
know.
to have to definitely pick that up.
You're finna have to.
Yeah.
Folio of
Finsta.
Fancies is one of my favorite cards to run
Love
in
this
CEDH
card.
because it's not a card most CEDH players care about in the slightest. They don't counter it. It's not on their radar. But the ability
Well,
to
it is
make
now.
each player draw X cards, so XX tap, each player draws X cards, it's just a really solid card. It gives everyone no max hand size. So if you mana sink, a lot of people, I'm just going to bluntly say it, a lot of people can't handle the choice of what to do with 20 cards in their hand. As soon as they
True.
have those things, they've been planning something out. Their go around now, they have 20 cards in their hand, and they make mistakes. They don't know what to do with it, because most people, especially at the CDH level, are really, really analytical and really threat-focused, and they're sitting there, they shuffle through their cards because they know what they want to do. They've already planned it out. You wreck their plans with this. It is very, very rough. And then for 3 in a tap, you can, every time they try tutor and answer to the top of the deck, get rid of it. It is aggressively bad for people.
You
Yeah.
also killed us with Force Draw.
Well, yeah, and you can kill people with Force Draw, which is good. This will kill people who are trying to Thassa's Oracle win because they exile their library.
You make
Thassa's
them draw.
Oracle on the stack, and you pay 2 mana and make them draw a card.
So awesome. I love this card.
Yeah, it's
so it'll wreck a Folio Fancy. It'll wreck a Thassa's Oracle. It'll wreck a Lab Man. It'll
Yep.
like it.
I just
Yeah,
love the fact that it
exactly.
has a book in it and I can put it in my book tribal.
Yeah,
so-
But
Exactly.
its other ability is pretty rough, and it's each opponent puts a number equal to the cards equal to the number of cards in their hand into their graveyard. They mill whatever's in their hand to grave.
Yeah, so you got 20, they're going to mill 20.
Yeah, which is a pretty easy way to start getting rid of people's stuff. And again, most people don't just consider it a threat. They don't see it as powerful, but a 3 mana everyone mills 7 is pretty... You're 3 mana milling 21 cards at that point.
Yeah.
Pretty aggressive.
And like you said, like you're milling their
Yep.
combo piece.
We have the Orrery, which is one of my favorite cards in Magic. Each player can play an additional
Jiriper
land.
Orrery.
The Jiriper Orrery, yes, sorry.
There's more than one.
Yeah,
Each
there's-
player may play an
yeah.
additional land on each of their turns.
Yeah.
It's some group hug. We're bringing some group hug
Yeah.
to CEDH.
Each player.
But again, you're trying to take their lands from them
Yeah,
anyways.
so who cares?
At the beginning of each player's upkeep, if they have no cards in hand, that player draws 3 cards. You're going to be able to outplay your hand a lot. So this draw is going to be pretty good. And it doesn't matter if you outplay your hand because you have a stack of 50 cards with Pako.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, so you having no hand doesn't matter. We have Gruul Locket because, again, more ramp. You need it. Isochron Scepter, which hits so many cards in our deck. So many cards, so annoying. Put Seed Time under it. It'll be fun.
Oh,
Take extra turns every time someone tries to
Yeah.
counter anything you do, and watch how fast they stop. We run the Ketria Crystal because, again, great card. It has cycling, and it also has the ability to give you any mana color you need in the deck.
Again, absolutely gorgeous card.
Lantern,
Yes.
All of the
Lantern of
crystals look
Insight
beautiful.
is an awesome card in this deck. Each player plays the top card of their library revealed, which is wonderful. You know what you're going to hit. And then you can sack it to make target players shuffle their library.
fair.
Put the wing con on top. I don't like that there.
Yep. Lightning Greaves because you've got to protect Pako.
You put some shoes on your dog.
Yeah, sometimes you put some shoes on your dog. Mana Crypt, because Mana Crypt is just a solid card. It really, the Ouch Rock ramps up how fast you can get things out.
Yeah.
If you don't have it, you don't need it, but it's going to lead to your turn 2 Pako for sure.
Play somebody else's, but...
Yeah. Mirage Mirror, just in general, is a good card. There's a lot of enchantments. We're going to get to those shortly that are very, very worth copying in this deck. And also, it's the same thing. There's so many cards that are really, really good in this deck that really, really function with this. Like, there's... I run Tabernacle in my deck, for instance, and stuff. So if somebody tries to destroy it, then I can just make another Tabernacle.
No wonder you have, like,
Yeah,
this deck costs $4,000.
Mox Amber, because if you control your commander, you can tap for any of its colors, which is wicked.
Primal Amulet, OP.
Yeah, Primal Amulet makes your instant sorceries cost 1 less. Great card. And then eventually flips so that you can, every time you use mana of any color, it copies the spell.
Yeah, so but I have to have 4 or more counters on it.
And you get the charge counters by casting instants and sorceries.
Soul Ring, obviously, because Soul Ring. Talisman of Creativity. I love the talismans in general. They tap or they ping you for the colors you need. Yeah. But overall, two to get 1 mana. Not hard. And again, we need mana in this. We have a lot of cards. Temple Bell.
So there, I see that you're using like one of the pain talismans.
Yep.
Why not the Arcane Signet?
The Arcane Signet I just never put in this deck because I'm just so used to not building with it still. Definitely something you could put into the deck and should put into the deck in general. I just am so used to running.
Yeah, I was just amazed that you have something in there that pings you. There's one that costs the same.
Oh yeah, I'm so used to just in the CEDH thing not caring about my life total.
That's true.
So when I built my deck from what was sitting here.
Yeah. And then lastly, you have the Ozolith, which is an awesome new artifact.
Yeah, exactly. People get rid of the stuff on Pako. Pako comes back.
Oh my god, it's a 1-drop?
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah.
I knew it was.
Pako suddenly 2020.
I have never looked at its mana cost.
You had an opportunity yesterday when you came by the store and bought a pre-release box.
Yeah, well, I
opened 2 of them.
I own like 4. And I'm like, yeah, I gotta put that in a track step. And I never even looked at the mana cost because I just know I need it. But it's whenever a creature leaves the battlefield, if it had counters on it, you put the counters on the Ozolith, and at the beginning of combat, you can move counters from the Ozolith onto creatures, which is dope.
I also run Jace because Jace just functions generally with this deck. You can look at the top card of their library.
Nice affordable planeswalkers.
For 0, you can Jace the Mind Sculptor. Sorry, so 2 and a blue. Draw 3 cards, put 2 cards on top in any order, so it brainstorms. -1 returns target creature to its owner's hand, which is exceptionally annoying to people who rely on it, like an Agila, Azur, stuff like that. They need those cards out. And then it's -12 if you were to ever get to it, but I can't see how you would.
Yeah.
You can just exile people's library, which is really annoying.
Yeah, I would say that's annoying.
It's definitely pretty bad. And then now we'll go into the enchantments. So
the fun ones.
How many enchantments do we have?
11.
Just 11. So again, we have a lot of mana in the deck, and one of the things to do with that mana is to just dump it into Aggravated Assault. 3 red, untap all creatures you control. After this main phase, there's an additional combat followed by an additional main phase. Activated only anytime you could cast a sorcery.
So Pako's going to get big. Yeah.
So
that's horrifying.
So with so much mana, exactly, I've been able to reliably in this deck swing 4 or 5 times with Pako.
The best is with the next card, though.
Yes, the next card is Bear Umbra. Enchanted creature gets 2/2, and whenever it attacks, untap all lands you control.
Yeah, for 2 green.
And then it gives totem armor if you could destroy Pako.
You say no.
Let's go infinite with the Aggravated Assault.
Yeah. So nice.
So again, we want to be able to untap our lands, and we want things that give us extra mana.
Oh yeah, sorry. I was gonna say that's the secondary win con.
Yep.
Just kill people with
Pako.
secondary
win con is just bite people with Pako.
Yeah.
So
go fetch his life. Fetch his life,
boy.
The budget version of this deck runs Trailblazers Boots, and I guarantee in pretty much every CEDH game you're going to be able to Trailblazers Boots kill people with Pako because
who doesn't have non-basic lands?
Everyone runs non-basic lands, except like maybe Urza decks.
Yeah.
Vandal Blast them right in the mouth.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Druid's Repository. 1 green, green. Whenever a creature you control attacks, put a charge counter on it, and then remove a charge counter at any time. Add a mana of any color to your pool.
That's nice.
Estrid's Invocation. Again, we're able to copy our enchantments. We have enchantments that matter. Right? Like Bear Umbra. Exploration. You can play an additional land on your turns. Play their lands. Great value. Nature's Will. Whenever one or more creatures you control deal combat damage to a player, tap all lands they control, untap all lands you control. So again, the same thing. You're just going to truck hit people with Pako. Pako is the second win condition. Yeah. Rites of Flourishing, an extra land drop, and an extra draw.
You know what that is? That's Group Hug. This is a Group Hug deck.
Stranglehold is Group Hate. Your opponents can't search libraries. If an opponent would begin an extra turn, they skip it instead. It's 3 in a red.
Would be crazy if you couldn't tutor for your win con.
Yeah, I was looking at that.
Wild Growth is an amazing card to draw in the opening hand, and I never would have considered putting this in. This was actually recommended by the CEDH TV guy, and it's enchant land. Whenever enchanted land is tapped for mana, its controller adds an additional forest. It just is solid overall, because you're not running your mana dork ramp in this, right?
Yeah.
I really like it. Wilderness Reclamation. Beginning of your end step, untap all lands you control.
Solid card.
Yeah, so again, you're just trying so many times to actually play other people's cards that you need so much mana. You want all your instants available. You want to play all their instants if you can.
Or you need 5 mana to be able to do multiple combats every single turn.
Yeah, just to hit people with a truck.
Like, I want to be able to hit someone 3 times. That's 15 mana if you cannot untap it.
Yep. Well, and then it's at the end step, though, being able to untap it is real bad.
Mm-hmm.
So then in this deck, I actually run more lands than you would run in a typical CEDH deck because I exile my lands a lot. I exile them a lot. I draw them a lot. Like you're going to have card advantage on everyone because for every swing with Pako, you're going to basically be getting 4 cards. And especially in CEDH, most of those 4 cards are going to be playable. It's going to be the equivalent of a 4-card draw most of the time.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, especially because you're not limited by color, right?
That's so nasty.
Yeah, 4 colors.
Nasty.
Yeah.
Nasty.
So we do run 33 lands. They're pretty generic. We run Breeding Pool, 11 Forests, because we have so much green in the deck that just matters. 6 islands, Ketria Triome, 6 mountains, Scalding Tarn, Steam Vents, Stomping Grounds. Tega, we run Tabernacle because we're monsters. Tabernacle of Pendle Vale, for anyone who doesn't know, is all creatures now require an upkeep cost of 1 or you sack them.
It's so good. And
so annoying.
And look at the price. Okay,
it's annoying for a reason. Yeah. It's a legendary land, which is kind of good that you can't have more, but it's also EDH, so you can't have more than one anyways. So.
$1,800 US.
Tropical Island, Volcanic Island, and Wooded Foothills.
It's a nice Wooded Foothills.
Yeah.
It's a real nice Wooded Foothills.
Yeah. But yeah, so the difference, we're going to quickly go and talk about we're going to talk about the budget version quickly and how it is. I think everyone understands why you have the ability to get into CEDH with a deck like this, though, because again, like the deck list is pretty similar minus the very, very expensive cards. Obviously, the budget version isn't running Mana Crypt. Obviously, the budget version isn't going to be running a Volcanic Island or a Tabernacle.
Yeah. Yeah, because that's totally budget.
Right? But you're still going to have this aggressive ramp package. You're still Aggravated Assault's not super expensive, $16, $17 card.
Yeah, that's not bad.
Again, most CEDH decks don't have a response for like a 20/20 dog attacking them 20 times.
So,
right? And the better, like I said, the better the play group you're playing into, taking this budget version of the deck into a CEDH table is still going to be fun. You're not going to be blown out of the water with it.
No.
And I've played the budget version of this deck. It was very, very fun.
I was not happy.
Yeah, I played the budget version still really, really bonks people.
And the price difference for the budget compared to the other one is enormous. Okay, because your regular CDH is close to $4,400.
Yep.
Okay, budget, everyone, is $215. That's a huge difference.
I was saying
Even if you
earlier,
take out the Tabernacle, it's still a huge difference.
Yep.
I was saying earlier, that's a good price for any EDH deck.
This deck's still going to be really fun to play against just your friends. It doesn't have to be quote-unquote CEDH,
Yeah.
even though you have your instant speed win still. The budget version still runs your ability to get the Leveler and Oracle out.
I think with these commanders, regardless of whatever you put in the deck, you're going to have fun.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, and this is fun. This is a way to play with your competitive friends, but even if you're not competitive friends, like, you're going to hit their creatures. It's not going to be as good, but you're still going to hit your friends' spells. You're still going to be able to play other people's decks.
Well, and playing cards from other people's decks is always a good time. Like, I think at least, I think that's why one
Villain's
of my,
Wealth's a great
I was
card.
going to say that's why one of my favorite cards is Villainous Wealth. You know, it's just,
Torment of Hellfire.
And you're going to be getting pleasure out of salting your friends by playing their cards.
but it's
Yes.
one of those things that's like, it salts, but it's not like I'm annoyed and now I'm going to play like a 9 against you kind of salt.
Well-
It's like, I wish that I could have played that, but everybody's laughing kind of.
Yeah.
You know?
If
A
I
lot
had
of-
a 9, I'd play it.
Yeah.
a lot
I would
of
never.
people, a lot of people have been talking about CEDH though, right? And
Yeah.
this is kind of a deck to show that it's not the big bad boogeyman. You're swinging at people with a big stupid looking dog yelling Pako fetch. You're having a good time.
Yeah.
You're still ramping out like a normal green deck would.
Yep.
And yeah, like, again, you're just playing a different kind of deck.
To me, this feels like very approachable.
Well, and what I was going to say is, for people like Hope, whose only game plan is big creature, battle cruiser, magic swing.
match.
Yeah. This is an interesting way to do it, because you're going to get to see different people's things. You're not running the most annoying counter spells in the world. You're not trying to lock people out of the game. Everyone's still playing. You do have some group hug in it.
Yep.
So it's not, group hugs in finger quotes, but it's still group hug nonetheless. But again, you're gonna definitely learn how to play with an advantage in this deck. You're gonna really be able to control what other people are doing. You're gonna have a lot of top deck manipulation against other people. You could run things like senseis, but I'll let Sherman go through some of the quick differences, like the sorceries.
Okay.
But before you do that, I just want to mention, like, something like this. The reason I say that it's so approachable is because it gives you the familiarity of green ramp, the familiarity of the angry red smash, and also the kind of like more complicated and spell slingy kind of aspect of blue. And I think that, like, all of those combined together, I think Teamer is a very interesting combination to be your introduction to CEDH, because it's not like so aggressive like blue. It's like mono blue or mono black or anything in that kind of realm for CEDH.
Well, you're also very similar to Trin and Silvar in how much your commanders matter in this and stuff, right? You're both swinging with big things. You can build similar. You can build Pako very, very differently than this. You could build a very, very fun Haldan Pako deck where you really Voltron him out and stuff. Switch the counter and control over to artifacts and enchantments that buff him.
Yeah.
And you still have a great time. Like this.
And I think, like, the transition from a casual to a competitive deck with these commanders is very natural, and it's very like it's very like
It
intro level.
flows.
Yeah.
It flows.
Because my thing is, I'm starting CDH, and I chose
Yes,
a
you
mono,
are.
a mono black deck.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that.
No.
No, but playing it, I'm not used to
Yeah.
the interactions and what I need to do. But if I was to pick this up,
Yes, this budget version
I
of this
am
deck.
a green player at heart.
Mhm.
I understand what green does.
You understand ramp,
And it ramps and everything. and then I understand red, bolts,
Yeah.
Yep.
damage,
Extra combat, exactly.
and then just blue
Having
there for
the
counters.
control
The
and
counter, the draw, exactly, because you can slot in a lot of this budget version is really just a shell, and you should take it in whatever direction you prefer. If you want to draw more cards, if you want to control the table more,
slot in more blue.
yeah, whatever way you want to go and stuff, you can make this. This is just a very, very basic introduction to competitive. You can play competitively against your friends who are going to be playing these. Like this budget version of the deck will go toe to toe with some of my $5,000 decks.
Oh,
Which
yeah.
is really, really awesome. It just goes to show people that, like, even if you go competitive, you don't have to spend money. You just have to think about what you want to do and execute it better than everyone else.
Yes, this is, who knows how well the episode will age, but as of right now in 2020, when we're recording this episode, the commanders of the day are going to be beat. The CEDH commanders of the day are going to be beat by this. This is going to beat a lot of the Thrasios Tymna decks. It has answers galore to the typical
It'll beat Urza.
I want a Thassa's Oracle. It's got a lot of ways to shut Urza down because you're taking those artifacts away from them.
You're either physically taking them by fetching them, or you're getting rid of them with Vandal Blast.
Yeah,
something like that.
The things like a Zur deck doesn't run enough creatures to be able to not have Pako blow through them.
Yeah,
and that's just it and stuff.
Especially if you go trample or.
Yep, and that's exactly it. But like the budget version, like I said, it does include Trailblazer's Boots.
Yeah,
and that is a walk over your opponent's card.
Yeah.
Literally.
Oh, if anyone doesn't know what Trailblazer's Boots is, because we mentioned it a couple times, it gives you the equipped creature non-basic land walk.
Yep. But this is what I mean. This is if CEDH, like I said, it's kind of the talk of the town at the moment. Everyone's talking a little more about it, and it definitely is a little more exciting. It's just Magic in a different way.
Totally.
Right? There's nothing wrong with it. It's not better. It's not worse. There's a time and a place for all kinds of Magic. But if your friends are getting into the more combo themed decks, the more fast explosive plays and stuff, and you're needing something to keep up with it,
stand with the big boys.
Yeah, don't feel like you need to go sink $1,500 into a deck. Like, maybe give this a shot. Run this and see how well their combo based decks are gonna perform now that you're playing your dog. And again, like I said, it does take the edge off the table because most people bring the competitive decks out when they're a little tilted or whatever.
Yeah.
You can't be mad at someone who's saying Pako fetch while they're swinging a 1919 at you.
But I can if you take my Cyclonic Rift and use it against me.
I would never. I would just leave it in exile. I think that would be worse.
Okay, so let's go through it real fast here.
Oh, right. Sorry.
Sorceries, there's no change. Well, you've taken some out, but everything there we already talked about before.
Yeah, I'm
so
saying basic pack.
Yeah, going to go straight to instance instead. First one that we haven't talked, that's one of the changes is Beast Within.
Yep.
Okay.
A little more removal.
Yeah. 2 in green, destroy target permanent. Its controller creates a 3/3 beast.
You get a 3/3 beast. You're welcome.
You have Brainstorm, so single blue. Draw 3 cards, then put 2 cards back from your hand back on top of the library in any order.
Which is nice for the fetch, but also because you don't have the Jace.
Yeah.
Yep, exactly.
So,
well, that's it. It's supposed to replace the Jace.
Yeah.
Now, next one, I'm surprised you put Cancel in, because there's better cards, but yeah.
But again, we're just trying to run just a quick budget one.
That's true. Cancel, 1 blue.
And who doesn't know where a cancel is?
Yeah, that's true. You just ask someone and everyone's like, I have 40 copies. Pick one. So, 1 blue, counter target spell. Cool. Okay, swap. Counterflux. Counterflux is a fun card. I love this card. Okay. Blue, red. A little annoying to cast. Alright. Counterflux can't be countered by spells or abilities, which is dope.
Yep.
And you counter target spell you don't control, which is going to happen quite often. And you have an overload. 1 blue, red.
So yeah, add 1 colorless.
Yeah. So you overload, and it's weird because you can overload on countering a spell.
So does it counter everything on the
All
stack?
spells you don't control.
Yeah.
So if there's a bunch of spells
Yeah, exactly.
on the
If
stack,
it's a huge
everything?
stack, counterspell everything on the stack.
So if
so
someone's trying to storm off or whatever, yeah.
Boop, 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 boop.
Like your brother does.
Yep.
Like every single time. Let's see. We did that one. We did that one. Did that one.
Crows and Grips. No, Crows and Grips in both, I forgot.
Last word.
Last word
yes.
is, yep.
So, last word. 2 blue. Okay. Can't be countered by target spells or abilities, and you counter target spell.
The budget version has a lot more strict control. Overwhelming Denial, again, it can't be countered by spells or abilities, counter target spell, and you can pay it for 2 if you were a teammate have cast a spell this turn.
Yeah. Reverberate. Red. Instant. Copy target. Instant or sorcery spell. You may choose new targets for the copy. I always love stuff like this. This, fork, you name it. I love it.
Yep.
So, we already talked about Savage Beating.
Yep.
Seed Time. Shredder Sales.
I think
Whirlwind Denial is another one that's added into this one.
Yeah.
Yes.
For each
It's the
spell and
last
ability
one
your
that's added
opponents
in.
control, counter it unless its controller pays 4.
This card I love. I love this card so much, okay? And it's an uncommon from Theros, Beyond Death. It's 25 cents still, but the ability to counter every single spell on the stack pretty much is so powerful.
So let me tell a quick story about it because one of the funniest things. It made the owner of our game store
Adrian
actually burst out laughing because I cast Warp World with 97 zombie tokens out in my Windgrace deck. So I got to put my deck into play.
Yeah.
I had well over 1,300 triggers on the stack with Landfall. I had Pandemonium. Whenever a creature enters, it deals damage. I had a Vesuva, Thespian Stage, and Field of the Dead hit along with 36 other lands.
You're out here crushing it.
Yeah, I had a lot going on. Warstorm Surge, Goblin Bombardment, Perforos. We had monster triggers on the stack. Yeah. And my brother hits Whirlwind of Denial. So all of my landfall triggers, all of my, I had the Black Obnixilis with landfall. I had so many triggers. I was killing the table with it, and I was suddenly just shut down to having all of the abilities countered unless I gained 4. So all of my Lotus Cobra, Panharmonicon had hit the table. It was just, I was excited. It was the only time Warp World had ever gone so well for me. Huh, Connor?
That's gold.
Yeah, and then I told him, I was talking very, very large amounts of trash, as I'm often doing. And I was like, "Oh, do you have a Stifle? Is that what you're gonna do?" He's like, "Kind of." And I was like, "All right, well, try Stifle." He was like, "Put your stacks on triggers on the stack, and I'll go to mine. Put all my triggers on the stack." I was just like,
So he's just baiting you.
Yeah, I put it on. I was like, "I'll kill you. I'll kill you. I'll kill you."
And he's like,
and then it went over and resolved, and so none of my landfall triggers had resolved. All my lands enter, and 36 lands definitely doesn't pay for that many.
Sure doesn't.
Not very many blue counter spells in Windgrace. So Whirlwind Denial definitely is not a card to be slept on. It is aggressively good in its ability to get rid of the stack. And like Sherman said, someone's storming off and I'm going to put 20 triggers on the stack, or I'm going to generate infinite mana and I'll Urza. Okay, well, I'll counter all those.
Yeah.
Unless you play 4.
This is fantastic.
Yeah, so again, we just wanted to do a quick talk about Haldan Pako. We wanted to just show a little bit of an intro to CEDH. The budget version obviously isn't the strongest deck.
But it's still
gonna
strong.
hold her own.
But I'm going to be honest, if you build Haldan and Pako, you're going to have fun. And you're going to have fun with decks that you might not have had fun with in the past. People playing their stacks decks, people playing their combo off decks.
Now you will play stacks.
Yeah, exactly. It's very, very fun.
Or you'll just stop people from playing stacks.
Yep.
Because you'll just leave it in exile.
You have a lot of control in this deck. You have a lot of fun in this deck. And you are going to... It's just really fun to play. You still have your, I guess not 99. You have 98 cards in this deck. But you have everyone else's deck to play with as well. You have the ability to go and do it. And like I said, you can win out of nowhere with these cards. Yeah. Defense of the Heart into Thassa's Oracle Leveler is just going to make the table just dumbfounded.
Yeah.
when they have 3/1/1 soldiers out on turn 4 or 5 and you win the game.
Yeah. Just like brutal. That.
But yeah, let us know, do you play CEDH? What are your thoughts on it? And how did you get into it? Was it an expensive adventure?
And if you were thinking about it also,
is this something that would make you try CEDH?
Exactly.
I like to see the stuff like this just because a lot of people are like, oh, my deck level's this power level, and you make suggestions. Or I don't want to make this into a CEDH. It comes down to how you play it, how you build it, and everything.
Because this could play at a casual table, or it could play at a CEDH table.
Because Daniel and I, we sandbag quite a bit when we play against other people, just to have fun.
Yeah, I play silly things.
Yeah, I definitely play silly things because I'm the budget guy.
Well, that's Hope with Iona. Every time Iona was legal to play, Hope just wouldn't play it.
I never played it.
Yeah,
unless I was real mad.
She's not a monster.
Or if I was down to one person at the table and I wanted to win.
Yep.
Yeah.
So.
But yeah, it's
anyways.
Like I said, this is just my take on getting into CEDH.
Yeah.
It's a very, very with partners you're able to do these weird divergent transformation style cards.
Mm-hmm.
And again, people aren't going to see it coming out of no one expects the Defense of the Heart to that card should just be played so much.
I know, it's so good. It is severely underplayed.
Like how much is that again?
Defense
$10.
Department's not
Only
crazy.
$10.50
Yeah.
US.
Yeah. Super old. It's
Not bad.
rare. So.
Yeah, it was just reprinted in the Mystery Boosters.
Oh, great. So it's like kind
And
of
it has
accessible.
a very, very cool foil version that's all up in my Muldrotha.
Oh, hell yeah.
All up in Muldrotha.
Anyways, so to that end, like I said, like we
I'll show you
said,
in a
guys,
minute.
let us know how you feel about this deck. Is it something that you might want to build now? If you had gotten the commander decks and maybe not even thought about letting these two shine on their own. As well, let us know on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, or come chit chat in our Discord. We also stream every Wednesday at 5 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, and check out our website for you can check out the podcast there, as well as blog posts from ourselves and our many content creator pals.
Yeah, one of our newest partners, Casual Jake, put up a great article this week about what it's like to lose a game. And it is a really, really good article. It's a very, very good read, so definitely check it out.
Yeah.
And also don't forget that with our streams, send us a message on Instagram or Facebook. Brian books all of our games, and come play with us. Come talk with us, and you can see what these decks that we talk about are actually like. You can show us your decks and have a good talk with a bunch of the hosts.
Hit a new meta. Anyways, so yeah, we'll see you guys next Sunday.
All right, catch you later. See ya.
Bye-bye.